So, December 1st, 2025, that's World AIDS Day. And this year, it's marking a really pivotal moment in the global fight against AIDS. We are, quite literally, at a crossroads, and the choices we make right now, they're going to shape the future of the entire AIDS response.
The theme for this year is Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response. Now, that's not just some nice-sounding slogan. It's really a direct acknowledgement of this massive tension we're seeing. On one hand, we've made incredible progress, but on the other, there are these very real, very immediate threats that could wipe out decades of hard work.
Okay, so that's the big question, right? What does this transformation actually look like in the real world? What do we need to do to make it work? Let's dive in and break it all down. All right, so why is 2025 so critical? Well, you've got major players like UNAIDS and the World Health Organization calling this a dangerous crossroads. And look, that's not them being dramatic. It means the progress we fought tooth and nail for, it's genuinely at risk of just disappearing. So the call to action for 2025 is basically a two-part mission. First, we've got to deal with the immediate problems, the disruptions that are slowing everything down. And at the exact same time, we have to make these huge transformative shifts in how we approach this whole thing if we want any shot at ending AIDS by 2030. Okay, let's get into the tough stuff first. This crisis of disruption. There are three huge threats that are really slamming the brakes on all our progress. Understanding these is absolutely key to seeing why this idea of transformation isn't just a buzzword. It's a necessity.
All right, threat number one, and honestly, it's the elephant in the room, a massive funding crisis. We're seeing a historic drop in money from international donors, and that's having a direct, devastating effect on the services people rely on, especially in low and middle-income countries.
And we're not just talking about a little budget cut here. It's a major, significant drop. And you know who gets hit the absolute hardest when this happens? It's the community-led organizations. The folks who are literally on the front lines doing the work day in and day out.
The second big threat is growing inequity. I mean, this crisis isn't hitting everyone the same way. It's falling way more heavily on certain groups of people. We're talking about punitive laws and social stigma that are literally creating barriers, stopping real people from getting the life-saving care they desperately need.
And that brings us to threat number 3, prevention efforts have just stalled. It's a domino effect, really. When the funding gets slashed, what's one of the first things to go? Essential programs like PrEP. And the results? Millions are left without protection. That means the risk of new infections goes up, and we're basically watching years of success get rolled back.
Okay, so that's the heavy stuff. But, and this is a huge but, this is not a story about defeat. Not at all. Despite all those challenges, there is some incredible hope on the horizon. We're seeing remarkable innovations, both in science and in our systems, that are offering a totally new way to fight this. So let's talk about the science, because this is where things get really, really exciting. And I mean it. We're not talking about small, incremental improvements here. We're talking about honest-to-goodness, game-changing tools that are already within our grasp. Tools that could completely transform how we handle HIV care and prevention. One of the biggest breakthroughs is something called Long-Acting Injectables, or LAIs for short. Just think about this for a second. Instead of having to take a pill every single day, imagine getting an injection just a couple of times a year. That's not just an improvement, that's a revolution in care.
And get this really shows you the power of what we're talking about. There's a prevention drug called lenacapavir. It's an injection you get just twice a year, and in clinical trials it showed, wait for it, near 100% efficacy. I mean, that's just a staggering, almost unbelievable number. So you can just see the difference, right? We're going from the old way, daily pills, really complex schedules, to these incredible new options. Twice-a-year injections, treatments that only happen every few months, even chewable or dissolvable tablets for kids. It's just a massive leap forward in making care easier for people to actually live with.
And it's important to remember, the innovation here isn't just about the drugs themselves. It's also about being smarter with our healthcare systems. We're talking about things like integrating HIV services right into primary healthcare, putting a renewed focus on advanced HIV disease, and really truly supporting those community networks that are so vital.
Okay, so we've got the problems on one side and these incredible new tools on the other. So what's the missing piece? The plan. And there is one. Global health organizations have laid out a really clear 4-point roadmap to take all this new innovation and finally get the response back on track. It really boils down to 4 key actions. Number 1, we need sustained and frankly increased financing to close that funding gap we talked about. Number 2, we have to tackle inequity and discrimination head on. That means changing the laws. 3, empower the communities on the ground. And finally, number 4, make sure everyone, and I mean everyone, can get access to these new breakthroughs fast.
So here's the bottom line. The old way of doing things? It's just not going to cut it anymore. If we're serious about keeping our promise to end AIDS by 2030, then building a response that's grounded in equity, in human rights, and in community leadership, well, that's not just one of the options. It is the only path forward.
You know, the science has done its part. The breakthroughs are here, they're real, and they're more powerful than we could have imagined. So the question that's left, it isn't a scientific one, it's a human one. Will the world deliver the will? Will we find the political courage, the funding, and the basic human compassion to actually see this fight through to the very end?